Hello, hello, Team Gwen. This is Jennifer Bagley, and as you guys may or may not know yet, we have engaged a relationship with the GWEN organization, or the Global Women's Network organization, that is essentially providing you guys with the infrastructure and support as it relates to project management, overall supply chain strategy or sales supply chain strategy, and consulting and implementation as well. So with that, there's going to be a few things that you can expect to change. And really, these are designed to be able to make your life easier as an organization with a lot of different individuals and companies that are part of a collaborative team. This is going to make the communication in between all of you much more effective and more efficient. So each one of you are going to be receiving an invitation to Astrid, which is going to be, for this particular project, the system that we use to keep track of task assignments by group. So I'd like to go over real quick with you, give you an overview of Astrid, and ask you to do a couple things. This is a simple system. So if you're not in love with technology, no worries. This is going to be extremely easy to use. So the first thing you're going to do is create an account, and we're going to send you an invite here in just a little bit. So you should have that invite. Once you get in the system, you're going to have access to this particular project area. So right here you have GWEN, and underneath GWEN we have different lists. What I'd like to ask each of you right now is, for the time being, until we get a handle on everything that's happening with the GWEN project and all of the different initiatives, different roles, tasks, and so forth, we'd like to ask that you don't add any additional lists. We'll be working with you on creating what each one of these different list items are going to be and what the overall filing system is going to be, so that we can really maintain the integrity of all of the different projects and of the system from a project management standpoint as well. So you're not going to want to create additional lists and until we finish complete training on it and we've all had a conversation, you'll want to not add projects or add tasks to the system. We'll take this in different phases. So right now this is an introductory phase where we're going to go over and we're going to show you how to use the system, how to navigate the system, and then we're going to have a conference call with each of you, and we're going to get a list of what you believe are your most important initiatives and tasks related to the GWEN project. Once all of them are in the system, they'll be properly categorized, stored, and then we'll be able to start assigning ownership, as well as once we have a complete scope of all of the different projects involved, we'll be able to help with prioritizing, establishing milestones, deadlines, dates, deliverables, and so forth. So with that being said, you're looking at a general overview right now, and this file is just shared with my team here at Sales Supply Chain, and also with the leaders of the GWEN network as well. That soon will be shared with you. So you'll be able to see in this entire file shared with folder, you'll be able to see who that's shared with, so you'll know everybody that's on the projects. Now on the left-hand side, you have the ability to look at your tasks, my today, not in my list. You don't want to make things public. This is going to be private project plan. You'll have the ability to look at waiting on me, things I've assigned, and so forth. Now, in a nutshell, this is essentially your task area. So you have the ability to filter by uncompleted, this list only, due today, due soon, overdue, repeating, completed, everything. You have the ability to search by who things have been assigned to, and you have the ability to sort and sift by auto, priority, date created, completed, last modified, alphabetical, or drag and drop. Now, some of this you won't have because this is a paid subscription. You're going to be using a free subscription, which is fine. You don't need this anyway. But on the left-hand side, let's go through lists. So right now, for example, we have these different kind of project scopes or areas of business. The first is contests and stories. Second is events. The next is the gala. The next is branding, content creation, CRM, e-commerce, email marketing, website migration, marketing as a whole, project management, scheduling, communication, SEO, social media, sponsorships. We have our own project management area, technology, training, videos, website production, and overall strategy. So within each one of these areas, you'll be able to see how many tasks are part of that. So we'll go into content and stories. This is the first one that we did with Tess and some other team members last week. And you'll get an idea of what happens here. So this is just a big list. There's been no dates assigned. There's been no ownership assigned. The goal is just throw everything out there as quickly as possible, get it into the system, then we can really see what does the scope look like. And like I said, we can start assigning tasks. So here, finalize Weave video technology. For example, that is a task. On the right-hand side, once you click on this item, you'll be able to see who the owner is. There can only be one responsible party per task. So as much as people love being able to pass the buck and share tasks and throw things over the fence to other people, in this environment, there will always be a single owner. Even if you have multiple players on a particular project, that owner is the responsible party for this particular task. This will prevent us from having confusion on who owns what pieces of what initiatives and who's ultimately responsible. So if I'm the responsible party for this task and there are other players involved, it's my responsibility to make sure that I've tasked those other players with individual tasks that are related to me completing this item. And that's how this works. Now, you also have the ability to set dates. So for this, let's say that the deadline for this, we'll go back, we'll look at this week. Let's say it's next Friday. You also have the ability to schedule reoccurring items. So we're going to work through this together. If there is an activity that happens on a monthly basis, for example, an email newsletter is sent out on the first week of every single month, then this is where we would put that reoccurring task. Next, priority level. As a team, we are going to talk through priority levels, and those are going to be assigned by myself as well as Tess as it relates to the total group. And then individually, when you're able to create subtasks under a particular project, you will have the ability to assign the priority level based on what it's going to take from your team or other team members in order to get that particular milestone accomplished. Next, we have the ability to assign groups or multiple groups. So similar to a blog, one task can belong to multiple groups. As everybody is put inside the system and we start creating teams and additional groups, we may have one task that applies to 3 different groups. And that can be managed through lists. Next, we have the ability to add a description, and then we have basically a commenting wall. On the commenting wall, when you are using Astrid from a desktop version, you're going to have the ability to upload photos or upload files to the system as well. So this way, if you need to communicate with a particular file, what we want to avoid is the use of email as our primary communication tool. Hopefully you agree with me. Email is an extremely ineffective tool to manage a project of this magnitude. It is an extremely ineffective tool for communication overall, especially the tracking and monitoring of documents, important milestones, and tasks. With a million different messages coming in from all of your different customers and vendors and projects and internal team members, it's very difficult to categorize and keep yourself focused on one particular project. So every single piece of communication that is going to occur regarding the GWEN projects is going to wind up inside this system and outside of email. We need complete visibility, complete transparency within the organization as to what's going on, what's being said, communications, issues, escalations, and so forth. And the way to do that is to keep things out of your private email boxes. So this is going to take a little bit of getting used to, and I know that. And the best thing I can tell you is have a very open mind, be willing to change and grow, and this is going to work well for everyone involved. So similar to Facebook, you have the ability to have a task, a posting wall. So for this particular project, you have the ability to add comments and continue to post different information down this wall. This will keep all communication in one location. Now, the next thing, actually, we'll leave that at that. So, very simple. When a project or a task is complete, you have the ability to literally check that right here, and that's going to mark that task or project as a completed item. And it will notate it automatically in the notes here. So we will see if something was complete, not complete, and so forth. So First thing you guys are going to do, create an account on Astrid. The second thing you're going to do, you guys are going to download the Astrid mobile app onto your cell phones. This is how exciting this is. Throughout the entire week, as different projects and tasks and milestones are assigned to each of you, as you complete them, the organization is going to know, because we're going to get a notification on our mobile app that says this project was done, this task was done, this milestone was accomplished. And if you could imagine, when we get on our weekly calls, we are not going to have to go through everything that was done. We can actually focus on what are the escalations, what are the plans for next week, what kind of communication needs to take place in between different business units and silos within the organization and the groups. And we can have a much, much, much more productive use of our time. One of the other things that this is going to prevent is impromptu, no notice or unplanned emergencies, events and calls and everything else. Everyone that's involved in this project obviously has businesses that they need to run. They have projects, other projects on their plate. They have other things going on. So in order for us as a team, a unit, a group, to be extremely effective, we need to be able to eliminate any and all impromptu or unplanned activities with it at all possible. This way we start operating based on a plan, a schedule, and we get out of that important and urgent environment, and I'll go through and we'll wind up doing training on this, and we get into the important but not urgent environment. So there's 4 quadrants to all business activities, and the first one is the top left quadrant, and that is important and urgent, which means somebody didn't do their job, something went wrong. To have things that are urgent and important, we are operating in a critical state, and we don't want to be in that area. On the right hand side, you have important but not urgent, and that is your maintenance area. That's really where you want to stay. You're working on a very critical and important task, but not urgent. On the lower left hand corner of this 4 quadrants, you have not important and not urgent, and on the bottom right hand corner you have waste of time. So what we want to do as an organization and as a group, again, is we want to stay in a maintenance mode. We want to be operating from a plan with communication systems in place, protocols in place, and most importantly, best practices that allow each of us to be successful within our organization. So with that, you guys, download the app, check out astrid.com, and we'll have another training video here for you shortly. Thanks so much for your time. We look forward to making this a great experience.